All right, Richard Halverson here. This is ITS148, and it is September 24th. And let's see where we are in the syllabus. September 24th is this day. We're going to start in Chapter 6. So let me take a peek at what those slides look like. I go here and go to PowerPoint slides and go to Chapter 6. And I'm going to save them down here. And that would be down here. Now, we are, oh, I need to share my screen, don't I? I haven't done that. Let's see, sharing my screen. Share this screen. All right. So I've got the PowerPoint slides up here now. And here is when we start to learn how to make procedures, how we learn to encapsulate code into smaller modules to make it like reusable, and they have parameters and so on. It's basically how to make methods. And so we're going to learn how to write methods, and we're going to learn about what the signature of a method is, and and how to do refactoring. And so we're going to learn how to describe the signature of a method, and basically that's just the name of it and the parameters, the names of the parameters and the types of parameters they are. And we're going to learn about optional arguments, passing parameters by value and by reference, optional parameters, the advantages of passing by name, and so on. Let's see. So the basic syntax for coding a method is you have first the word public or private optionally, and then you have a return type, which means like integer or string or something, how, you know, it's going to return some value. It doesn't have to return a value, but it can. And then there's a parameter list, and so that's parameters or values that you're going to pass in or pass back out again. And then there's a bunch of statements. So here's an example of a method that doesn't have any parameters and doesn't have any return type. So the return type is void, means it doesn't return anything. And then you notice inside here there's just a left and a right parentheses, so it doesn't take in any parameters. Here's one that will return a decimal value, so it can be used. We'll see how it's used in a moment, but then and you also pass in a particular value. So this thing, you know, calculates percent or something, it looks like. And so here is a more complicated kind of method. It returns a decimal value. This is the name. It takes as an input a monthly investment value, a decimal monthly interest rate value, and an integer number of months. And so, by the way, this is the signature. Decimal, this name here, and then the fact that it's 3 parameters. First one is a decimal monthly a decimal. Second one's a decimal. Third one is an integer. So that's like the signature. So the syntax for calling a method is you simply put the method name there. You can put the word this in front of it, because if it's part of the same, if the method is in the same class or, you know, object, then you can put this there, this. And then this is, for example, how you would call. So you've got this method called get discount percent, and you pass in a value, and then see you have it on the right side of the equal sign, because it's going to return a value that it's going to get stored into this discount percent variable, which is a decimal variable. And for this one down here, we have we've declared a variable called future value, and this calculate future value method is going to return a value which will be stored into this future value variable. And this calculate future value method takes on 3 parameters, 1, 2, 3. And so IntelliSense can help you with that if you name your stuff to take advantage of it. There's optional parameters, and so with optional parameters, you will say what the default value is should it not be specified. So this one, there's 1 required parameter and then two optional parameters. And so if you call this method with just 1 parameter, it means you're passing in the monthly investment, and the interest rate and the integer in the months are just going to be these default values here. So this here's how you might pass these values. This first example here, all 3 values are passed. In the second example here, the last one is skipped. And here, this is passing, parameters are passing by name. And so you actually put the name here, colon, and then the value. And so you can change the order if you want to. If you can't remember the order, for example, you can do it that way. And so calculate method, I guess we're going to do a refactoring here. We're going to take this part here and just turn it into a method. So it's this decimal future value. This is for loop, and so it's decimal future value in this for loop, but it's stuck inside of this code here to make it a method, and then there's parameters passed in and so on, and the value is passed back out again. So here the value is just, when this is done, future value is going to have a new value, and with this one, it comes in here, it calculates the future value, and then it returns that value. So let's see. So it would work like this. So this thing just calculates it. No, this is different. This is an example of another way to have a method where you make the return value be a parameter. See, you're making the return value here be the parameter. Instead of passing it back as you know, a return, where you're returning a value for this function, the function itself has no value, but you return the value of interest in a parameter right here, this yellow section. Here's an inside, okay, so here's how you could, another way you could call it. You can use this out keyword, which means future value is going to be defined by this method. Here, we just use a reference parameter where we pass in where future value is, so we let this method itself write into the future value memory location. See, that's what this reference is. Instead of a value, you're passing in the actual address of the variable. All right. So this is just how you connect in event handlers. We're never going to have to do this because with Visual Studio, you do it by the properties, and just by double clicking. You double click on the button, and that creates the event handler, the shell for the event handler. And if you want to mess with it, over here you click on this little lightning rod, and you're dealing with the methods, and this is where you connect in. Here you're connecting in, changing the text value to this method here, clear future value right here. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you this assignment. This assignment is really easy because really all we're concerned about is this method. So it's just create a simple calculator. Okay, so if you took my class last semester, maybe you remember this assignment. So we're just going to create this little app like this, and you put in a number, and you put in an operator, plus minus, multiplication or division. You put in another operand, and then you click calculate, and it's going to do the operation, calculate it, and put the value right there. See, we have to make this form. We make the calculate button and press the enter key. The calculate button should fire. Escape key, the exit button should fire. And then you want to code a private method named calculate that performs the operation and returns a decimal value. The method should accept 3 parameters: an operand, an operator, and an operand. And then you want to create an event handler for the click event, which will call this method. Okay? So this is a real simple problem, and the only thing is we're actually going to make a method. All right, so to do that, we open up Visual Studio, and we're going to create a new project. And it's going to be a C# project on a Windows platform, a desktop application, Windows Form app, and I'm going to name it Simple Calculator. And I'm going to put it on my desktop. And I'm going to create it. Okay, so let me make some adjustments here so I can do more than one thing at once. So over here like this, doing the calculator. I can put this over like this. I'm going to pop open the toolbox, pin it, and maybe I should make a little bit more room here. All right, so, and this is the calculator that I'm making. It's exercise 6-1. By the way, I did post it up as an assignment, and I've got a rubric here, not that big of a deal. It's what you'd expect. I want you to do this exercise 6-1, but I also want you to add an alert. What was I trying to say here? Well, anyway, add an alert that doesn't allow division by 0 or an incorrect operator. In addition to an alert, an incorrect operator should be cleared. Okay, and this can all happen when the calculate button is pressed. And so I want you to show 3 different screenshots here, one, and so on. And so this is a rubric. All right, so let's go back to this. The assignment looks like this. going to move it over here. And let me see, should I make this a little bigger? Okay, so I'm going to make something that looks like this. And so I'm going to put a label and a text box. And I'm going to make both of them be bigger, like 12-point font maybe. And let's see, I'm going to make this label here can say, I'm going to take the properties, I'm going to put it up like this. So it's long. And I'm going to make the label itself say, this one can say operand 1, colon. And and so let me do copy paste. This is for the operator, paste. This is for the operand 2. And then the result can be here. And then we have a button here, which is going to be 12-point. And it's going to say calculate. Calculate. And I'm going to do copy paste. Oops, copy paste. And this button is going to say exit. And I'm going to name, oh, this one's going to say operator. Operator. And this one's going to say operand 2. And this is going to say result. And this text box is going to be read only, true. And I'm going to name it txt result. And this text box I'm going to name txt operand 2. And this text box I'm going to name txt operator. And this text box I'm going to name txt operand 1. And this exit button I'm going to name btn exit. And this calculate button I'm going to name btn calculate. Okay, now everything is all nice and made. And let me put this up a little, put it up here. Let me put this like that. This form here, I'm going to have it say simple calculator. So that's the text field. Make it simple calculator, so it says simple calculator right up there. All right. I guess I can make this operator thing smaller. Okay, so now let's start making some code here. Let me set it up so when on the form where we go to miscellaneous, the accept button can be button calculate, and the cancel button can be button exit. All right. So now let's make the exit event handler. I'm going to double click on exit. and I'm going to make it say this point close there. Now let's go back to here. Okay, so there's a number of ways I can do this, but let's do sort of a top-down approach. Okay, top-down programming where we start at the top and we write code and we write, you know, we call the methods before we've written the methods. That's just one way of doing it. Wait a minute, does it tell? It says. It actually says here, tells us we should make the method first. Code a private method named calculate that performs the requested operation and passes in these variables. And it is a decimal, it returns a decimal value. So I'm gonna right click on the form and select view code so I can view the code right here. And here I am in the code. And I'm gonna code a private method. It doesn't matter where I do it, but I'm gonna put it like maybe right here, right underneath, and I'm going to say private, because it's a private method, and it's going to return a decimal value, private decimal, and it's going to be named calculate, and it's going to have 3 parameters. It's going to be a decimal operand 1. I got to do some here so I can make it see more. Oops. Okay, so it's operand 1. So an operand 1 is going to come in, comma, string, which is the operator, and I don't think you can have just a plain word operator as the name of a variable, because it's a special reserved word. So I'm going to make it operator 1. There, that's okay. And then the last one, a second operator operand coming in is decimal operand 2. Okay. And then I can do a beginning curly, enter, and we're down like this. Okay. So I'm going to return a result. So let's create a variable called result, decimal result, and I'm going to start it out as equaling 0. And so this operator is going to come in, and depending on what that is, if it's a plus sign, result is going to be this plus this. Okay, yeah. So let's do if operator 1 equals a plus sign, then we want to say the result is equal to operand 1 plus operand 2. Okay. Else, if operator 1 is equal to a minus, if that is the case, then we want the result to equal operand 1 minus operand 2. All right, so you're gonna have to add some more code in there. I'll leave it at that for now. Okay, so I've made this. You know, you're going to also want to have something where else if operator 1 is equal to multiply, else if operator 1 is equal to divide, else if it's not anything, you want to display out a message like message box show you idiot. Okay, and then you want to do some other stuff because you want to blank out the operator. Okay, okay. Anyway, and that is down in the method, isn't it? Can you do that? Well, whatever. Okay. Anyway, so when we're all done with everything, we want to return result like that. Okay, because result's going to have this value, and you want it to return back so to calculate. All right, so now we've created this function or this method. We've coded a private method named calculate that performs a requested operation and returns a decimal value. These are the arguments. Create an event handler for the click event of the calculate button. This event handler should get the two numbers and the operand the user enters, call the calculate method, and get the result of the calculation. Display the result rounded to 4 decimal points, and move the focus to the operand 1 text box. Okay, so that's quite a lot there. So let's go back to here, and let's double click on this calculate button. Double click, and now we're ready right here to create an event handler. So I want to get operand 1, decimal op1, operand 1 equals txt operand 1.text semicolon. I want to convert this though, so let's do convert to decimal parentheses. Okay, so that's operand 1. We want to do string operand operator equals txt operator .text, and then we want to get a decimal operand 2 equals convert to decimal txt operand 2.text, and then we want to get a result out, decimal result equals, and we want to call this calculate method, calculate operand 1, comma operator, comma operand 2. And we want to round that to 4 decimal points, so we want to do result equals result dot math parenthesis dot round. That's a method, static class called math. It's got a little round method in there for us, and we take result, we round it to 4 decimal places like that, and then we can write that out to the text result dot text equals result dot toString. All right, so let's test this. Okay, so you see how this works? So somebody clicks on this calculate button, and that invokes this method right here. What does this method do? First, it grabs out what someone typed into the first text box. Then it grabs out what the operator was. Then it grabs out what the second operand text box has in it, converts it to decimal. Then it calls this calculate method, and the calculate method's got passes in the first operand, passes in the operator, passes in the second operand, and it's going to return back. It's going to return back a decimal value, which is going to be this result thing. And so that returns it back here. So it's going to store it into this result. This result here is different than this result. They're the same name, but they're actually two separate variables. And then this rounds it, and you know, we could round it here if we wanted to, but we didn't. We decided to round it here, and then this converts it to a string and displays it out. So let's see what this does. Uh-oh, there were errors. So I click no, and what's the error? It cannot be applied to operands of string and char. Okay, so we cannot do this. So I think maybe we need to do this. Yeah, that's better. I was using the wrong language. In C#, this matters. In other languages, in every other single language, this does not. But in this language, it does. Double quotes are different than single quotes in this language. All right, so let's start this up again. And now it seems to work. So if I enter 5 plus 4 equals 9. Great. How about 5.34521 plus 4.987654? That equals, yes, rounded to the four digits. Can I subtract this? Yes, subtraction works also. How about multiplication? Nothing happens. Division? Nothing happens. How about some goofy other character like that character? It says, you idiot. Programs have no respect these days. All right, so I can press escape, and we escape. Okay, so we have a nice shell of a program here. We did not implement what happens when you click multiply. We did not implement what happens when you click divide. You also have to check in there because I don't want you to add an alert that doesn't allow division by 0 or an incorrect operator. In addition to an alert, an incorrect operator is cleared when the calculate event handler is invoked. Okay, so what that means is that is over here, if you were to type something in wrong, like an ampersand, when you click calculate, it's going to say, you know, use incorrect operator, but then also when you click OK, it's going to clear this out. See, so I want you to do that also. All right, so so I want you to do that, and then also you have to check for divided by 0. So, you know, like right here in this routine, and right here, you're going to have to check and see if operand 2 is 0, and if operand 2 is 0, then you're going to want to display out an error message and not let the person do divide by 0 because it won't work. All right, so in this rubric here, you want to make sure that all the buttons work, enter escape work, divide by zero is caught, bad operator is caught, rounds to 4 decimal places. You don't get all that stuff, you'll get between 3 or 4 points. Calculate operations don't all completely work, you might not get 3 points. And then this is all just making sure that the instructions for the assignment were followed. There's 3 screenshots. You got to submit all the screenshots, and so on. All right. So, are there any questions? Okay. So, so when this is done, I would save all. Oh no, I would do. I have to do the screenshots. So let's say I have screenshots here. I have to say 5 plus 4. Oh no, what am I supposed to show? I'm supposed to show 100 divided by 3. Well, I don't have 100 divided by 3, so but it would be, so it'd be 100 divided by 3 equals something. So I'd want to take this screenshot. So I'd go snip, S-N-I-P, snipping tool. I would take this one. And maybe save this on the desktop. 100 divided by 3.png. And then I want to do 100 divided by 0. So, oh, let me go here. Where's this? 100 divided by 0. And it's supposed to say something different. New. Save as 100 divided by 0. .png. And the last thing is you're supposed to do an incorrect operator was entered. So you want to go incorrect operator, and it's going to go like this, and you want to show this there too. So you do a screenshot. Oh, where's the screenshot? Save as, this is incorrect operator PNG. And all right, so there's that, and then you want to do the code, and okay, so then I want to stop this, and I want to copy the calculate code, and paste that into here. And I want to attach, oh, all right, and then I want to save this, save all, and close it. And this is it right here. So I want to right click and send to compressed. So that's that. So I want to include from the desktop where are all my pictures? Wonder what I did with all my pictures. Oh boy. Snip. Oh, they're in pictures. Okay. All right. So let me go to pictures. Okay. So I was uploading, right? Where was I? Browse. I wanna include this simple calculator, and I also want to include browse and go to pictures, and I want to include this and these three. Can I do all? Oh, I guess I can do 1 divided by 0 divided by 3 and incorrect operator. Okay, so when I'm all done, I'll have my code in here for the calculate click event handler is there, and I will have these 3 screenshots and the actual project, and I submit that. And that's how I would hand in my code. But this is not complete, as you know, because I don't have the code here. I do not have the code for these operators. I don't have the extra code here to check to see if the operand for the division is 0. And I don't have in here, I want to make this message nicer, and I want to make sure that this message clears out the operand or the operator text box. I also want to make sure that after I click the calculate, it goes and returns focus to the first operand text box, and that kind of stuff. So that's what you have to do to get all the points. All right. So are there any questions? So I can help you now. We got a few minutes, and so I can help the people in the class here get stuff done. And if you have any questions at home or you're watching this video, just send me an email, and I can help you that way. All right? Okay, thanks for watching.